everyone, happy Thursday. I just finished filming tomorrow's video. Obviously, we were doing a learning fabric with TomKat Stitchery. It's all about rayon, which you guys have already seen it by the time this, if you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch it. It's one of my favorite fibers to work with. So I just finished filming that. I took yesterday off. I had like a for real day off yesterday. I am currently working through a knit-along, a friend of mine who knits. So I have a group of, there's 5 of us, that all of our daughters are in the same Girl Scout troop together, and we all live really close to each other, and we get together and have knitting get-togethers. One of them has a lake house, and so we've, in the fall, we've gone down to her lake house and just spent a weekend of knitting, just the 5 of us, which was heavenly. We had a big fire going. I made a big stew that just sat on the stove basically all day long, and people would just get bowls of it as they were hungry. And we had leftovers like that. It was just a wonderful, wonderful weekend. A wonderful group of ladies. Anyway, and a couple of them are very prolific knitters. And one is a crocheter. Of the 5 of us, one of us is actually crochets. She doesn't knit, but she's a phenomenal crocheter. Anyway, one of the gals in that group asked me if I would do a knit along. So she's never made a sweater before. She does tons of these beautiful shawls, but wanted to try a sweater. So one of our local yarn shops was participating in this. It's the Soundtrack sweater by Olive Knits. I'll pop a picture of the pattern up here, and wanted to do it with me. Wanted me to do it with her because she just never done a sweater before. So I said yes, even though I have like a bajillion things in my queue right now. I'm still actually working on one sweater, and then I have, I was gifted that yarn that is going to be my next sweater. But anyway, she wanted me to do it with her. And so yesterday I sat, and I think it's a pretty easy knit. In fact, the knit along started July 1st, and today's the 9th. And I think, is today the 9th? What's today? Yes, today's the 9th. And there are people on there, they're like, oh, I'm done with my sweater. And I'm like, in 9 days? How are you? You people are amazing. I mean, I'm not a slow knitter. When I actually sit down and knit, I'm not slow. It's just a lot of times I'll put a project down. I'm not working on it consistently usually. Anyway, but I sat, and my daughter and I watched Unsolved Mysteries. So Unsolved Mysteries is back, and it's on Netflix, and it's like a new stories. Actually, they're not necessarily, they're disturbing because a lot of them are unsolved murders is basically what it is. But just eye-opening, a lot of things like, oh my gosh, like how, yeah. Anyway, both of us get into that kind of mystery of, what really did happen. Like, who do you think? Do you think that, the husband killed the wife? Probably, and, that kind of thing. But we watched quite a few episodes of Unsolved Mysteries together, and I knitted, and it was wonderful. And, I had a couple of household things I needed to do, but that's all I did yesterday. And, I mean, if you were to look at how much of the sweater I have done, you'd be like, really? You worked on that all day? I did run into an issue. I had accidentally, one of my increase rows, I misread the directions and put in twice the number of increased stitches than I needed to, and didn't realize it, of course, until like 5 rows later, when I went to do more color work and had to frog back, which I hate frogging back. It makes me so nervous that I'm going to miss a stitch, but it was fine. I got it all frogged back and then got knitted back up to where I was. So I'm now past that point. Not a lot, but some. So anyway, that was my day yesterday. And I also got a wonderful thing in the mail. I tell you what, it's, I talk about my faith on here quite a bit, and I know it's a sewing channel and that kind of thing, but it is who I am. And I've just really been struggling, and I've mentioned this too before, that I struggle with anxiety and depression. It's just something that is just always, that I just have to watch and be looking out for the signs. And I've really been struggling this summer just with everything going on in the world. And, I know that I'm not alone in this, that there's so many people that are in the same boat. But I tell you, earlier, last month, I guess, Nancy, that watches the channel, reached out to me that she had a binder for her Cover Pro. Did she have the 900? I can't remember if she had the 900 or if she had like the 1000 that she had sold, but she kept a hold of the binder attachment for it, thinking that it would work on her new machine, and it doesn't. So she just sent it to me and gifted it to me, which is so amazing. It's the actual Janome binder, one of the sized binders. And then Lainey reached out to me just last week and saying that she no longer uses her CoverPro. I think she does have the 900 or had the 900 CPX and had all of the attachments for it that she just kind of hung on to. She stored them all in their boxes. They're all still in their actual like packaging. That's just where like she stored them. I think a lot of them have been used, but it's where she stored them. And she said that, you know, she just wasn't using them and sent them to me. And so guys, I have got pretty much now every foot imaginable for the CoverPro, my cover stitch machine, which just the blessing, it really touched me. So I just want to thank both those ladies, number one. Not that I expect anyone to send me things or give me things, but just, you know, I just want to thank you all for just the kind words that you guys leave in the comments. All the coffees that people are buying me, that is just so kind. And I just want to let you know how blessed I feel to be surrounded by such wonderful people. So yeah, I'm going to get all a little bit emotional, but I got that package yesterday and it just really touched me. And yeah, I feel very, very, very blessed. And yeah, felt a little loved on by God as well. So anyway, thank you all. Today, like I said, I just finished filming a video. I need to get some pictures taken of some makes that I've made. One for Athena Kaku, the AK patterns. I need to, it was a hack, a Kimberly. It's the great white and gray dress that you guys saw. I need to get that photographed, and then I also have a Love Notions re-release that I need to get photographed as well and get those pictures turned in. So that's on the docket for today. I need to go pick up my son at some point, but I don't know how much sewing basically is what I'm saying. I do want to work on my, that JCrew dress. I want to figure that out because I'm going to do the built-in bra, the striped dress that my Minerva fabric came for. My other two cuts have not arrived yet, so hopefully those arrive soon, making me a little nervous when they come from so far away. But I do want to work on that at some point. And then I just have some more activewear that I want to continue chugging along on, but that may wait till next week, just because. But tomorrow, so if you guys watch Dorothy's Daughter on YouTube, Kim on Dorothy's Daughter, she just did a fabric haul. They went to Zinks in Ligonier, Indiana, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes north of where I live. She's in Ohio, but she's in Western Ohio, and so they come over to that area, I think, somewhat frequently. And she did a fabric haul of some gorgeous things for fantastic prices. And so I sent a text to my friend Evelyn and I was like, hey, you want to do a road trip on Friday up to this Zinks? You know, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. And my daughter has asked for not all back to school clothes being handmade, but she has very specific, I love it, Liz, very specific requirements of things that she wants. And so we've been online looking, like on Pinterest, looking at different outfit silhouettes that are modest, yet things that she wants to wear. She's never had her colors done. I'm pretty sure she's a light spring. She has very low contrast, so she's definitely a warm skin tone. She has like almost a peaches and cream complexion. It's definitely warm, but very pale. And then she's got, or fair, I shouldn't say, makes her sound like she never leaves. We keep her locked up. And then she also has very fair hair. Her hair is a very light blonde, a little ash, maybe like a light ashy blonde, but there's gold in there too. I don't know. And then she has green eyes, very green eyes. So anyway, I think she's a light spring. She has very low contrast. You know, her hair, skin, eyes is all very low contrast because they're not a bright green. They're a pale green. Kind of a pale, they're almost the color of my Monty dress, you know, that kind of a drab green a little bit. That sounds awful way to describe them, but they're like a kind of a dustier green eye. They're very pretty green eyes, but everything's very low contrast. So we were kind of going through, and I still may get her a professional color analysis at some point, but just for now, we kind of went through and found typically what a light spring would be, and a lot of those colors on there I know look really good on her. So yeah, I think when we go up to this fabric store tomorrow, I'm going to be on the lookout for stuff for her. So I think I'm going to try some of the double brush poly, but for her, and tops for the fall basically, and see how that goes. And also see if they're, because she wears a lot of knits, anyway. You know, like t-shirts and jeans, but I think she wants a little bit more stylized t-shirt, sweatshirt type things that are a little more fashion forward. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to be up there looking to buy her some stuff for a me-made wardrobe. And I think I may turn that into a series here on the channel and do modules for just something different than seeing things on me all the time. So this will be a back to school module for her. So I don't know how many modules I'll do, but it, you know, kind of building a little bit of a capsule wardrobe. Not all of it will be me made. I think we will definitely purchase a few things for her, but just because, you know, time. But yeah, I think I'm going to make quite a bit of it. So we'll see what kind of fabric I can find. So that's tomorrow. And I want to thank Kim for giving the heads up on that gem. I'm very excited to go up there and see what we can find. Just a quick day trip. So I probably won't be on tomorrow. Yeah, I may do like a fabric haul or something, maybe for Tuesday's video. So anyway, I'm not sure how much sewing I'm going to get done just because I have a lot of other stuff that needs to happen, the behind the scenes and pictures and that kind of thing. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and say hello and to thank both Nancy and Lainey for the wonderful, the gift of, yeah, thank you guys. I just really appreciate that. So, okay, I will come back and check in a little bit later. Hi everyone, happy Saturday. God, I think I haven't popped on here since Thursday, if my memory's correct. So lots to share. I'm having a very big boost in inspiration and creativity and sojo, I guess. So yesterday I went up to Zink's Fabric Outlet, which if you watch Kim on Dorothy's Daughter, she goes up there and see, she had a fabric haul from there earlier this week, I think, like maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, doesn't matter. Anyway, she's been there before and did like a little tour on her channel, and it is like, I don't know, 2 hours and 15 minutes northeast of where I live, and she's in Ohio, so I think, I'm not sure what the drive is for her, but not too bad. So anyway, when I saw her fabric haul, I'm like, you know, I really need to get up there. So I called in one of my friends and said, hey, you want to go up to Ligonier, Indiana? And she was game, so we did that yesterday. I did buy myself a couple things. The prices up there were fantastic. I found a lot of things. I think I bought 60 yards of fabric. But mostly it was for my daughter. So she has requested not all, but quite a bit of her back to school clothing to be me made. And she's kind of designing it. We've picked out quite a few patterns. So you actually, by the time you've watched this, you saw my fabric haul from yesterday. So stay on the lookout because I bought some patterns today. She picked out some patterns so we can start making some plans for all that fabric I bought. So most of that fabric, I think there's 3 cuts in there that were for me. And then an additional 2 that I think we're going to share. But most of that stuff is all for her and for her back to school wardrobe. So I'm going to be doing some module sewing for her. And I actually just ordered a couple more athletic knits, like I need more of that, to make her some leggings for the winter because she does like to wear leggings on occasion. So I ordered 2 just like plain. One's a double brushed poly athletic knit, so it does wick. It's kind of a heathered charcoal gray color. And then I ordered her some supplics. I've always wanted to sew with the supplics. I think that's very similar to like the Lululemon, not Lululemon, but Lululemon high-end yoga wear. So I did buy her some black, and I'm going to do the Avery leggings by Helen's Closet for those, just because they don't need to be necessarily athletic. Leggings, they're more like to wear under things, basically, or to wear to school and that kind of stuff. So, sorry, I have gum in my mouth. I'm trying to keep it stuck to the roof of my mouth so I know that that's really gross. I just finished eating though and I like to refresh in my mouth. So, I bought those 2. And then I bought 2, a navy and a black that are athletic fleece. So it says that I bought from Surge Fabrics. I've never bought from them, but they're from my home state. And so I thought I'd give them a try. So I bought a yard each in a navy and a black fleece lined, basically, athletic knit. She had fleece lined leggings last year that I just bought off Amazon. I got like, I don't know, 6 pairs, I think, for like $30, some ridiculous price. They are not looking good. I mean, they're looking very worn. I'd bought them because she needed a black pair for her Halloween costume. Gosh, that must have been over a year ago. Anyway, So I thought I'd try and recreate those with the Helen's Closet's Avery leggings. That legging pattern is a little more, I mean, you can use it for yoga, definitely, that kind of thing, but it's a little more everyday legging kind of. Like, there's not as many seams. You know, my Green Style Creations stride leggings have a lot of seams, which looks really cool and athletic and stuff, but I just wanted something a little more or she wanted something more streamlined for her everyday leggings. So we're gonna give those a try. I actually have a couple more athletic knits in my stash that I was gonna make for her for our trip. So I think I will try those out. You know, I did make her the stride leggings, which she really liked, but I think I will try the Averys in the next couple and see how that goes. See if she likes that as well, just to kind of to test that out. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of sewing for her here real soon. So I'll probably film that plans video here pretty quickly. I am doing modules, but I think that there's only gonna be one jacket that I'm making for her, because I mean, she's in middle school. You know, she wears a coat to and from school. She did design kind of one jacket that she really wants to wear. We may do a jean jacket for her as well. I'll kind of wait and see on that, how that ends up. I think I have enough of the denim I bought though to get a pair of Dawn jeans, a skinny Dawn jean, and a jacket out of, because it's really, really wide. But anyway, that's what I have going on. So for today, I really want to do some sewing. I have all the plans like rolling around in my head. I have a ton of fabric sitting on my cutting table right now from filming that fabric haul. It all still needs to be washed. I really need to have a tidy up and clean out of the sewing room at some point. My children are leaving on, let's see, you're watching this on Wednesday, so tomorrow when you're watching this, are going to my parents' house for a week. They do that every year. So I'm going to have a full week without them here. And so I really want to get some plans nailed down so I can do a lot of sewing. Finish up the activewear, I think, for myself and for my daughter. And then maybe work on, I have a pattern test that I'm working on. That's going to be a really, really, really good one. I'm very excited about it. And then what else? Just working through my Sew the Look. So my other two fabrics from Minerva came, which yay. So yeah, I can get to work on some of those as well. Finish off the Anthropologie look, that's the linen Rhapsody that you've already seen, and then the fabric came for the shorts on those. And then also the knit came for, it's a Suzanne dress that I'm going to redo, but I'm going to wait and do that one kind of closer to fall, because that's really going to kind of be one of those transitional pieces that kind of goes from the end of summer into fall. So that's going to be one that I'm not going to make quite yet. But the JCrew dress, I really want to work on that. So I'm going to take you over to the table, show you what I'm going to do pattern work wise, because I am going to do a cross back. I'm using the Love Notions Summer Basics pattern, the dress version. I'm actually using the knee version because I'm going to make ruffled tiers. So I am going to take you over, show you what I'm doing to the pattern to do the crisscross in the back, because I'm going to put the built-in bra in, and then we're going to cut it out. And I actually think I may cut out the skirt pieces first, because I think I've determined how long I want each tier, and then I'll take you over to the machine and show you how how I do the ruffle with the ruffling foot on my serger. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, let's do that. Let's go cut. Let's do some pattern work and then cut out, and then we'll come back. Okay, I wanted to show you guys the pattern work that I'm doing for this JCrew dress. Okay, so I've printed off the Summer Basics pattern, and I've printed off the knee-length dress. And I've also printed off the built-in bra. So what I have done, let's move these out of the way for a second. So it comes, I'm doing the full bust front because on the tank I used the full bust on this piece. I went ahead and added an inch. So this, on the dress version, this is kind of an empire. It ends right underneath the bust. And there is nothing more unattractive than if you have a large bust and if you have a dress that's supposed to end under your bust and the seam ends like mid-boob. That is just the worst. So I held this up to my body because the tank fits me really well, but I held this up to my body and I needed about an inch in order for it to really hit right below my chest, which is where I wanted it to hit. So I added an inch to right here at the apex, which the apex is noted on the pattern. I added an inch in width there. And I did the same to the shelf bra. And then I just trued up my sides. Now, For the back, I probably don't need that inch, but because I'm working with a stripe and I want it to match and it's going to be going horizontally across my chest, I want it to be matching. So I went ahead and added both an inch to the back of the bra and the back of the bodice on the dress. Those may come down a little bit lower, but I'm just not going to worry about it. So anyway, I've added the inch to both of those. And then because I want to do the crisscross straps, which this pattern is meant to be bound on the edge, so you don't take any seam allowance on the neck or the armhole, but I'm going to be attaching the bra to it, and I'm not going to be using a binding. I'm just going to attach them right sides together, I think. Does that make, yes, because I'm using the straps, I'm making my own straps. So yes, I have to do it that way. So I'm just going to use 1/4 inch seam allowances, which will make the strap here 1.5 inches wide when all is said and done, which is fine. So I just basically cut the top half off. I started at right here at the top of the side seam and drew a line parallel to, or perpendicular to the grain line and the fold line. And I'm just cutting it off on both. And then I've made a mark 1.5 inches in from the fold, and then 1.5 inches wide. And that is where my straps, my crisscross back straps, are going to tuck in. Ideally, I'm gonna try and figure out a way to get 1.5 inches wide elastic into these straps if it's just not a complete pain in the rump, so that I have just a little bit of extra support with those straps. But 1.5 inches should be nice and thick, and then I can do a really cool crisscross on the back. So I think that that's good for my bodice. I'm gonna make the bodice first and try it on and make sure everything works. I'm gonna do my shelf bra in power mesh, but I think I might also cut it out of fabric as well, just to give myself 3 layers of coverage for modesty in the nipple area. I'm gonna just throw these away now that I've got those cut off. And just to help give maybe just a little bit of extra support, I just really want this to work. So I'm on the fence about that, but I am just gonna do the bodice pieces first. And then I'm additionally going to cut out straps that will be 1.5 inches wide when all is said and done. So I'll probably cut them, and I want wiggle room for at least 1/4 inch for the elastic, just for turn of cloth. So 2.5 inches, I think I'll cut the straps. That'll give me 3/8 of an inch seam allowance on each side, and then 1/4 inch of turn of cloth. So I'll just cut those, and I don't know how long I'll cut them arbitrarily, because I'll probably end up cutting quite a bit off. I'll try the dress on. I'll attach it to the front, and then I'll try the dress on to decide how short I want them in the back. So I don't know. I may cut them. Oh, I'll hold up a tape measure and kind of figure it out. But maybe like 15 inches long. That's probably more than enough. But that'll give me wiggle room to play. So there's the bodice for that dress and my plans for that. And then with the skirt, the knee length skirt is front and back. You cut on the fold. I just went actually up to the lengthen and shorten line. Now you can't cut lengthen and shorten line because it just goes straight across from the perpendicular to the grain line. And I wanted to follow the curve of the skirt because that's going to give some shape to this. So for the top tier, so the skirt has 3 tiers in the skirt. So for the top one, I held this up to my body and, oh yeah, sorry, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I cut that correctly. So I held this up to, oh, you have place on the fold for skirt front and skirt back. Okay, so they're 2 different widths. Interesting. Glad I just caught that. So if you see here, you're going to cut here for the skirt back on the fold. And then you're going to cut here. Oh, it wants you to have a seam allowance. Is there a seam allowance on the back bodice? No. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut them both on the fold. So I'm going to cut this piece off. Anyway, I basically cut 12 inches off the bottom of the skirt, and I measured up from the bottom of the skirt and then drew a new hemline. And then I'm going to I'm looking at the dress, and the top tier on that dress, the inspiration dress, does look a little bit shorter, but not a lot. And then the 2 lower tiers appear to be about the same width. So I'm going to cut long strips of fabric that are 14 inches long, because I want to have seam allowances on either end, at least 3/8 of seam allowances. And then I want some wiggle room to play with. I want to make sure it's long enough, and then I can always hem that bottom layer just a little bit more if I need to. So that's my plan. I'm going to cut this one out. I'm actually going to cut this off while I'm talking to you guys, because I do not want a seam down the center back. I don't know why that's there, to be honest, unless you're wanting to do some chevroning or something. So yeah, I'll cut 2 of these, one for the front, one for the back, and then I'm just going to cut the width of the fabric, 2 or 3, definitely 2, one for the front, one for the back. I'm going to ruffle them, the front separately from the back, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that on my serger with my ruffler foot. It makes it really easy, but you just have to have a long enough piece of fabric. You don't want to come up short when you're doing that. So probably a width and a half for each. So I'll probably cut 3 lengths or 3 widths of fabric that are 14 inches long. So that's the plan. So the skirt's all going to be vertical stripes, and I want the vertical stripes offset when they're in the tiers. That's the way that the inspiration dress, and I kind of liked that. And then for the bodice, it's going to be going horizontal. And I think I've got enough stretch in my fabric to make that happen. So that is the plan. Okay, yeah, next will be to cut out the fabric. Okay, so I'm doing this whole thing in bits and pieces because I'm totally like on the fly. Sorry, it's really dark. Not a standard sew along. So what I'm doing, flying by the seat of my pants on this completely because this is a pattern hack and I'm just kind of going with it. So what I've done, I want, as I showed you, this is the knee length skirt and I've cut it to the length that I want it, which basically I just started at the length and shortened line, but I followed the hem of that pattern piece so it curves, just to make sure that it lies nicely. So I've got that cut out, which is a front and a back. So basically we're going to be putting the skirt together front and back separately, and then they're going to get sewed up the side because I can very easily gather when it's all flat before it's put in the round, and then I'll just sew up the side seams, and then we'll do the hem on the cover stitch machine at the very last. So I have 2 of these skirt portions, I guess, that are obviously really short, and I hope this is going to look fine. I think it will. Once it's attached to the body, that the stripes aren't going to look wonky just because of the nature of the thing. I think it will be fine though. Anyway, I'm going to do, so I've got those. And then this skirt has 2 tiers on it. So obviously the first tier has to be quite a bit bigger than the skirt portion in order for it to gather. And then the second tier needs to be quite a bit bigger than the first ruffled tier so that it can gather into that. So that's how you get the ruffles. And since I'm not sure, it's really hard to gauge how my machine is going to ruffle. I mean, I'll put it on the, I'll show you how I do that with the differential feed. But I find I'm going to see how far 3 widths takes me first. So basically my second tier and third tier are going to be the same length. So anything that I have left over I can attach to more strips that I'm going to cut. I just don't know how many of these 14-inch long strips with the fabric I actually need. So I'm starting off with 3 because again I'm doing the front and the back separate. And when I did my raspberry dress, I needed, and I just had 1 ruffle tier on that one, I needed 3 widths of fabric in order for it to ruffle the way I wanted it to, both on the front and the back. So that was total for that entire ruffle. So like 1.5 widths for the front and 1.5 for the back. I had a little left over, but not much. I just had, I think, just this much. So not a ton. Anyway, so I thought that that might be a good gauge. And then we can determine if it took me 3 to do the front and the back on that one, then I will probably need, we'll just see how much is left over. If I'm going to need like 5 maybe even for the bottom tier, or maybe even 6. I have plenty of fabric. I have 4 meters of fabric, and the bodice is not going to take much. So yeah, we're just going to kind of play this by ear. So I have basically 3 folded over widths of fabric that are 14 inches long. That's what I just made, the determination I made on how long I wanted my tiers to be. So I'm just first going to attach all 3 of these end to end to make one really, really long strip of fabric. And I'm not going to worry about cutting. I'm going to actually cut off because the selvage is obviously white. Now, once these are all gathered on, you're not going to be able to see a seam line because all of, it'll be gathered in on itself. so the seam line will get hidden in the folds. But I am going to make sure that I cut off the selvage when I'm serging this together because I don't want to see any of that white. I am using brown serger thread just because I wanted a darker color so that it doesn't, if there's any stress at the seams. I mean, this has so many colors. What color would I pick? So I just thought I would go with a darker neutral. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to serge all 3 of these widths together at their short ends so that it makes one really long strip. Alright, so, I mean, there you have that. And obviously that's not perfect because you have like a teeny tiny little stripe in there. I'm not going to worry about that because, again, it's going to be all gathered in and you're not going to even be able to see the intricacies there. So that's 2 attached together. So now I'm going to attach the 3rd one and I'm going to go change my battery. It's about ready to die. So I'm going to attach now my 3rd one and then I'm going to show you how to ruffle it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have 3 widths of fabric that are 14 inches long. So I've got like a ton of, oops, you don't belong there, a really long, just gigantic strip of fabric, basically. So now I'm going to stick you in front of me so that this could get very interesting because ruffling takes quite a bit of concentration. But before I do that, this is my ruffling foot, and I have a Baby Lock Evolution. So this is, ruffling foot is foot G, which is right here. And it's got this little, you see the little thing here. So my bottom piece that I want to ruffle is actually going to slide in through this, and I'll show you again up close. And then, the piece that I don't want to gather is going to go through that part, and the piece I do want to gather will go underneath the foot like you are regularly sewing. And we're going to mess with the deferential feed, and I'll show you how to do that. But that keeps the top layer flat, and it'll gather in the bottom layer to then do your ruffling. So I'm just going to put that on the machine really quickly. You have to kind of push it down. It's kind of springy because of that piece. Okay, now I'll bring you in front of me and show you how to do this. All right, so here we are set up. This is going to be very interesting. So over here, this is where my differential feed is on my machine. Yours could be different. Look at your manual, it'll tell you. Basically, you wanted it in, which is neutral most of the time, and anytime you go up in number, as it shows here in the picture, it's going to gather whatever is against the feed dog. Now, if you're making a seam and you just want a gathered piece of fabric, you can just want to serge it. You don't have to use the ruffle foot. You can just adjust your differential feed and put it through the regular foot, but it pushes the fabric through slower, which makes it gather up. And then if you're wanting like a lettuce edge hem or something, you go down and that stretches the fabric as it is going through. So I just go all the way up to a 2, which in theory is putting it in twice as fast as the top layer, so you should be getting a 2-to-1 ratio. I find that it goes in, it depends on the thickness of your fabric really, but I find for the most part it goes in much quicker than 2, because like I said, I would have only needed, let's see, for the raspberry dress, it definitely did more than 2 because I had to add another width of fabric. Okay, back to here. So what we're going to do is I'm doing my front and back separately. The whole front skirt's going to get put together and the whole back skirt will get put together. So I have, first of all, here is my, let me go out just a wee bit. Here is my extremely long piece of fabric. This is the long strip that I've made. So I'm going to find an end and I want it right side up because this is going to go right sides together. That's the skirt. Lots of fabric. You gotta find the end. There's an end. Okay. And my fabric doesn't matter. It doesn't have a top or bottom, but if your fabric does have a top or bottom, keep that in mind. So this is just gonna go under the presser foot like it would any other time. And what I really, oh, this is gonna be really hard. I need longer arms. So what I really like to do is put the presser foot down, and I'm actually going to get this started. I go back and cut off the ends when everything is on. Oops. Oh, come on, you stinker. come on. Why is it not cutting? Okay. So as you can see over here, kind of, it's already starting to gather. I don't want it off too much. There we go. There we go. So that's my, oh my gosh, why is that not cutting? That's super annoying. Okay, there's polyester in this fabric, and it does not, my blade does not like that. All right, so we've got that going. This is the ruffle. And now we're gonna take the skirt, and this is the part, the bottom part of the skirt that attaches to the ruffle. And I'm gonna feed it in to this little section right here. And you just kind of want to go slow just to get it all started. This is why you can't really have a set cut amount. Okay, I think that that's caught. So now the game is to keep the edge of your skirt over to the side and not to let your bottom layer get too wonky. And so now, and I also don't want to pull this bottom layer too much because I do want it to actually ruffle. So now I just sew all the way. And nothing is worse when you accidentally miss an area of the skirt, so always make sure that it's kind of pushed really close up here to the far right. Okay, when I start, I'm gonna actually serge off here, so I'm getting close to the end of the skirt piece, which is a good sign. I'm not gonna need as much fabric as I thought, because I don't even know that I've hit the end of I have not even hit the end of the first width, so that's exciting. Okay, and you are gonna notice how messy this is, like it was pulling up the scraps into the, I think that's the polyester that's in the fabric. All right, so I'm gonna set you up now the other way and show you what we have now done. All right, so this can be either the front or the back, but see how beautifully that gathered that onto the top? And this is just like the dress where the stripes aren't matchy-matchy across the ruffle. The JCrew dress is the same way, mostly because it would be impossible. And you can go back and check and make sure that your serging caught on both sides, just to make sure. And then I will go back to, so this is all this extra length of fabric. So now I can go and I can trim, so here is the edge of my skirt right here. So I'm gonna arbitrarily pick kind of the middle of this red stripe, and I'm just gonna cut that off. And then over here where I started, because I've got, again, I started it off a little bit, I'll probably pick right in between this orange and purple stripe and just cut it straight down. So the stripes will make it easy to cut that. So I'm gonna go cut that off, and then I'm gonna do the same thing to the front, you know, if this is the front, then I'll do the same thing to the back piece. All right, so now I have two of these gathered. So here's the skirt that'll attach to the bodice, and here's the first gathered tier right here. I have a front and a back, and they're identical, so it doesn't really matter which is which. So now we're gonna do the second tier that's gonna go on top. And for that one, I used just a little less than one width of fabric for that first tier. Now again, we need more width for the second tier because it has to get gathered into the first tier, so you need more that way. So I had cut 3 because you always need to err on the side of too much as opposed to too little, because I've run into that. Nothing's worse than getting to the end of your strip and it's ruffled and you still have, you know, the piece that's staying flat to go. That's an awful feeling. So I still have a little bit over 1 width here. So I'm thinking 2 widths of fabric should do each side. So I'm going to cut 3 more widths so that I'll have a total of 4, and I'm just going to sew 2 together. So I'll sew this one to a second one, and then the other one I'll do 2 together, and we'll do that for the next tier. So I already have one that was cut out earlier. And this was on sale. This fabric was on sale. I think I paid like $4 a meter for it, or 4 pounds a meter. I bought this from Minerva. But it was perfect for what I was looking for. I wanted the big bold stripe, and the purple is a little clearer than my colors, but the other three colors are totally my colors. And I do have a purple in my color palette. It's just it's not quite this clear of a purple, but I'm totally going to rock that. Don't want to accidentally cut anything you've already sewn. So yeah, I just need to do 3 more widths, 14-inch widths. Alright, so now I have 4 widths of fabric, 1 that was left over from the previous round, and then 3 more. This time, instead of making 1 gigantic long strip of fabric, I'm just going to sew 2 widths together, and then I'll sew the other 2 widths together. It'll be a little bit easier to manage under the machine. But I'm just going to do exactly what I did this time to this next layer. So yeah, I'll come back and show you, not the finished skirt because it hasn't been sewn together at the side seams yet. Actually, yes, I will go ahead and sew that at the side seams. Right? Do I want to do that? Yes, I can do that. Yeah, because I'll make the bodice separate and then we will attach it in the round. So yes, we're going to do that. So I will go ahead and do the second tier, and then I'm going to sew them together at the side seams. I'm going to wait and hem at the very end though, because I just want to make sure it's a maxi dress, so I want to make sure and get the hem just right. So yeah, I'm just going to do exactly what I just did, and then I will come back and show you my finished skirt. All right, so I've got the skirt done. Let me... If you can see the different tiers, there's the top, and then there's my 2 tiers. So not hard at all. I started this part of the dress with the skirt because, I mean, it does take a lot of fabric, and actually this is really heavy, and I'm actually going to use some elastic, I think, when I attach this to the bodice as kind of a waist stay, just to help support the weight of the skirt once it's all attached. Luckily, there's not a ton of vertical stretch in this fabric, so it shouldn't grow too much. I think I have the polyester to thank for that. But yeah, there is the finished skirt. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to work on the bodice, and then we will attach that at the end. And I still have not hemmed the skirt. I will do that last because I don't know how much I need to hem it. All right, I'm going to wait until I get the bodice all done and stuff. So I have the full bust dress bodice front here. And I have the full bust shelf bra front. And then I have my dress bodice back. Remember, I cut the top off. And then I've got the shelf bra back. I added an inch in length to these just to make sure it accommodated my chest. So for this one, let's see, shelf bra. I'm going to set the shelf bra aside because it's going to get cut out of power mesh here in just a second. So I'm going to cut out, got some scraps of fabric over there, that's the leftovers. I don't think I'm gonna, maybe for the straps I can use some of those scraps. Alright, I mean I still have, what, 1.5 meters probably of this left? Plenty. So I'm gonna cut my bodice with the stripes going horizontally just like the dress. So I'm actually going to orientate this selvage to selvage differently. Now, like I said, I am losing stretch. There is some vertical stretch, just not as much. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue for the bodice. Okay. I'm doing it this way because I want my stripes to go the other way. So hopefully this works. I have plenty of fabric to play around with if for some reason it doesn't. A trick when cutting out stripes, so I can see my stripe through the back. Now these are printed on stripes, they're not woven in, so sometimes that can really get you because the stripes won't be perfectly straight. But I think it looks like we are going to be okay on that, so that's exciting. So I'm just making sure that my stripes all line up with their counterparts. It helps that they're different colors. And then I'm just going to lay out my bodice front. And then I'm going to make a note. I'm going to line up, this is just kind of some stripe matching help. I'm going to line up the top of my side seam, so at the edge of my sleeve, I'm going to put that right on the line where a stripe changes color. So I'm putting it right at the top of a purple. And then I'll do the same to the bottom, because I just need one on the fold of the front and the back. Okay, and then I am going to mark my center fronts on both the bottom of the bodice and the top. So because I lined up the armhole seam, it's not going to match very completely well, because I do have quite a bit of longer because I'm using the full bust piece. But I'm just going to lay this back piece down and make the top part of the armhole line up with that same purple stripe. Make sure everything is lying as it should. Okay, on this one I'm going to cut center front on both the top, not center front, center back on both the top and the bottom. And then I'm also going to mark where I kind of think I want my straps to go into that back piece. And there we have it. There's our front and there's our back. Alright, while I have this fabric laid out, I do need to cut my straps. So I want my straps to be 1.5 inches wide when they're finished, but I think I'm putting elastic in the middle. So I actually want the finished width to be about 1/4 inch more than 1.5 inches, because when I do the turn of the cloth with that elastic in there, that's going to take up some width. And that can get really frustrating. And I'm trying to decide if I want like small stripes across, or if I want one color, because I think each color is how wide? Well, that's not going to work. Well, we could do seam allowances on either side. I think I'm going to go with the stripey. And I think because of that, I can use one of these scraps from leftover. So I want my finished strap width to be 1.5 inches. I'm going to add 1/4 inch onto that for a turn of cloth, so that's 1 3/4 inches. And then I'm going to add 3/8 inch seam allowance on either side, which is another 3/4. So that's going to put me, I'm going to cut my strips 2.5 inches wide by, I'm going to fold this in half just to make it easier to cut. 2.5 inches wide. I'm just going to pick an arbitrary number because I'm sure I'm going to have to adjust once it's on me to determine how long I want the stripes. So I think I'm going to make them 2.5 inches wide by, I don't know. Do a little rough measuring. Well, that's 16. Okay, I'm going to do 18 inches just to make sure I have enough. So 2.5 inches wide by 18 inches long. I have this on the fold, so that means I need to do 9 inches. Alright, now I have 2 straps cut, 18 inches long by 2.5 inches wide. And I'm going to cut some 1.5 inch wide elastic, 18 inches long as well. I'm going to use power mesh here for my shelf bra. So the shelf bra is also cut one on the fold for the front and the back. And elastic definitely gets attached to the bottom edge of that. I am going to go to the instructions. Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to go look at the instructions on Love Notion's website for this pattern on how to do the shelf bra, just to make sure, you know, the way it's drafted. But I will probably go a little bit my own thing because I'm not going to bind the edges of my neckline or my armholes. I'm going to instead sew it right sides together at 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to serge them, and then I think I'm going to go back and cover stitch, kind of a top stitch around the neck, and then the armholes and the back, I think, because I want it to be stretchy. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll take you along with me though, so you can definitely see what I end up doing. Okay, I'm going to go cut my elastic, and I will meet you back at the serger and sewing machine. Okay, so I've got my band. So that she says, I used 1.5 inch wide elastic, she says 1 inch, but because I lengthened my bodice anyway, I'm not too worried about it, and I prefer this. So, and it's what I have. So she says to measure your underbust and then subtract 1 inch. My underbust, so that means like right underneath your bust, is 33 inches. So I cut this 32 inches, and then I overlapped 1 inch on either side and did, it's probably hard to see, but I did like the box sewing to connect that. I have 2 pieces of the same elastic, cut 18 inches long for my straps, and then you saw me cut out my bodice front and back. So I'm going to go a little, I have the instructions here, but I'm really doing my own thing here since it's not going to be quite the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually make my straps, just because those could get lengthy just turning them. So what I'm going to do, I cut these the wrong width. Okay, when I said 2.5, that is not correct, because it's got to, like, it would be correct if I were sewing these two together but that's not what I want to do. I want to sew them, I want to fold and sew them. Okay, I made a boo-boo. All right, so I want a finished 1.5 inch strap. And then I want to add 1/4 of an inch, so that's 1 3/4 inches. Now I need to multiply that by 2, which is 3.5. And then I want to add 3/8 of an inch on each side because they're going to get folded and sewn, which is another 3/4 of an inch. So that puts me at 4.25. So my strips need to be 18 by 4.25. So I'm going to go recut those real quick, and then I'll come back and we can sew our straps. Okay, take 2. All right, so these strips are 4.25 inches wide by 18. So there we go. I've got 2 of these for each strap. Boop. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to fold these, their long sides together, right sides together, and I'm taking 3/8 of an inch of a seam allowance, and kind of, I do want to match up my stripes there as best as possible. So I'm going to put that under the, and just kind of get that started a wee bit, and then I'm going to take my elastic, and it's going to go under here as well. And I'm going to ride the elastic right along the side of the blade. I really don't want to cut the elastic, but I do want it to get sewn into the seam. Okay, so this is what it looks like finished. So basically I've sewn the elastic on top of the tube. I didn't cut any elastic off. So now we have to turn this, and this is where life can get very interesting. Let me go get a safety pin. I don't know if a safety pin will be better or a loop turner. Okay, now when I did this technique with my second Power Sports bra, I wanted to like scream because that knit is so stretchy. This isn't as stretchy, so hopefully this is going to go okay. So I'm just going to stick this through one layer of the knit and through the elastic and fasten. And then we're going to feed that through the loop, and we're going to kind of fold the elastic inside the loop I mean, it's the same as turning anything. You just have to really go slow. The added elastic definitely adds an element of well, that wasn't bad at all. And there we go. Actually, I think I had probably just the right amount of ease in that. So that is a good amount. 1/4 inch times 2, because when you double things up. And then we can just take our safety pin out. And there we have a beautiful fluff, a beautiful strap. And it pulls the seam onto the back. That can be our back. Okay, so I'm going to do this to the second one. So I actually somehow I think my knit got stretched a little bit. So I have my elastic flush at the top but not at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut off the excess fabric because I don't want to accidentally not get the elastic sewn into the seams. Alright, so now everything is perfectly covered elastic straps. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm now going to sew both my bra and my, the outside, the bodice, the dress bodice, side seams together. I can't sew anything at the shoulder because I've got the shoulder straps, obviously. So I'm going to really quickly sew my side seams of both my bra and my shelf bra, and then also my bodice. Obviously, right sides together. Alright, so I've got my side seams sewn on both the bra and the dress bodice, and I think I did pretty good on my stripe matching. I'm a little off on the other side, but I am easing in. The front has like a bubble kind of that you're easing in for that full bust front. So it's under your arm. But I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and at the sewing machine, I'm going to baste right sides together. So I've got this seam on the back of my stripes. I want that facing up. But I'm actually going to set these at an angle because actually the other way, because they're going to crisscross at the back. So I'm going to set it kind of like that. So there you go, like that. So that it will easily go up and over, to crisscross. But I'm just going to I'm positioning it between those two notches. I'm going to sew, basically I'm basting both of these on, and I'm going to turn it this way just in the regular sewing machine, and I'm going to do it at, I think I'm going to do it at 3/8 of an inch, even though technically I was going to do 1/4 of an inch around the neckline, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do 3/8. The neckline on this and the armholes are supposed to be bound, but I'm just going to sew them right sides together since I'm doing the shelf bra. I think I might like the way that works better. So yeah, so I'm sewing it at an angle kind of like that, but I'm going to sew 3/8 of an inch from the cut edge of the bodice, and I'm just going to baste both straps on really quick. Alright, so there's the back. I've got them basted right sides together. Everything's very floppy at the moment. Okay, so now we're going to attach our bra and our bodice right sides together. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the elastic on the bra first. That might be easier. Okay, I'm going to do the elastic on the bra first. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to quarter my shelf bra and I'm going to quarter my elastic. I've already marked the center. It's pretty close to the side seams. I'm just going to make the side seams. So I'm just going to quickly quarter my elastic. And this is going into the bottom part of the shelf bra. So this will hug right underneath the chest when all is said and done. Okay, I'm following the instructions on this one. Alright, so I'm going to serge the elastic onto the wrong side of the bra. Quartered my points, so we're just going to pin everything in place, and I'm aligning it this way. So my elastic is going down to the body, and I'm going to sew these on. So I've got the wrong side of the bra, of the shelf bra, out, and my elastic is going up into the body of it, and I'm going to sew along this top edge. I'm actually going to turn this the other way around because it's easier to sew, because I want my elastic on top just so I can stretch it as I go. And I'm just going to stretch my elastic to fit into the bottom here, and I'm going to try and not trim off hardly anything on the bottom of the bra. So if you look at this from the right side, so this is the right side, this will be the side against my body, it's sewn up. But what we're going to do now is turn it up. So there's the wrong side, and we're going to turn it up and top stitch it in place. And I think that that should work okay. I might go try this on just to make sure. But I'm actually going to top stitch this in place with a 3-step zigzag set at a 3 length and 4 width, just because that's my preferred. I could do it on the cover stitch, but that's just, with lingerie and swimsuits and stuff, I really like the top stitching. I feel like it gives it just enough stretch. I don't have to worry about popping any stitches. Not that the cover stitch isn't stretchy, it is, but I just really like doing that. So that's what it will look like on the, well, I'll show you. I'm just going to go over to my home machine really quick. I already have a knit needle in there, and I'm just going to top stitch this with a 3-step zigzag onto the up into the body. And alright, I just tried this on real quick just to make sure it looked kind of like it was going to fit, and I mean as much as I could. The strap, there's no straps on this, but yes, I think we're going to be good. So this is what the built-in bra, my built-in bra looks like, because I've got the back is just open right now, obviously. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to attach the bra to the dress. And what I'm going to do real quick is just cut these straps flush, because my serger blade will not be happy about trying to cut that elastic. Just cut those off. Okay. So with the right side, we're going to do this in like a couple of passes. So I've got the right side of the back up with my straps basted to the right side. So you just want to be careful not to catch those. And now right sides together. So I'm going to turn this side out. There's my back. I'm going to put these together. Match my side seams. And then I've marked notches on this as well, so we're just going to match all of those notches, make sure nothing's been... Those straps are kind of weighing down the outside bodice, so I just need to be careful that nothing gets turned in on itself there. You don't want to get a pinch of fabric or something, so I'm going to do this on the serger so it will cut if I'm not careful. Okay, and we're going to go around to the front, but we are going to, we're not going to sew across the top of this top of the strap. We're going to leave that open because that's how I'm going to determine the length of my straps. So those are going to get tucked in there eventually. So that's where my opening is going to be. Okay, and then, so I'm going to leave the top of both straps open, and then I'll start at the top of the strap, and we will go the front neckline all the way around. But we're going to leave the top of the other strap open as well. So the tops of both straps. Or I guess the shoulder seams. You could, I mean, that is the shoulder seam. If we were sewing this as drafted, that would be the shoulder seam. Okay, and then we'll go down the other side and back to where we started. So we're going to do this in 2 passes. We'll do the back up one side and then the front neckline, leaving the top, that shoulder seam allowance, or where the straps will attach to the front, we're going to leave that open. That will get closed here soon, after we've tried it on to determine how long we want them. Which will actually be, that and the hem are going to be some of the last things we do. Now I've got a lot of pins here, so I'm going to be very careful not to catch a pin, and I'm sewing this at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance instead of a quarter. Oh, no, I can't. It has to be a quarter because of my width. I'm going to make sure I'm at a quarter at the top of the shoulder seam, but I may go down to 3/8 of an inch as I get down a little further. In fact, I will. But I do need it at just a 1/4 inch on each side of the strap for the straps to fit into those holes. Okay, before I flip anything right side out, I'm going to go back to my sewing machine, and on the wrong side, so on the bra side, I'm just going to 3-step zigzag some clear elastic into the seam allowance. I'm not going to stretch it, I'm just going to sew it kind of 1-to-1, just like I would with a sports bra, just to give this a little bit of extra support around the neck and armhole, especially because the skirt's so heavy. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that same thing after I've attached the bodice to the skirt. I'm going to sew, without stretching anything, but sew some clear elastic to that seam as well, just to help support the weight of the skirt. So I'm just going to go, well, I'll move you, and I'll do a 3-step zigzag and just sew some clear elastic into the, all the way around the perimeter of where I just sewed, obviously leaving the tops open. I don't know if you probably won't be able to see it, but I do have clear elastic. I didn't stretch anything, but it is sewn into the seam lines on the bra side. Oh, dang it, I caught some of that. Okay, this is what I was talking about. See, I caught, is that going to show? See how I caught some of that folded up because of the weight of, that's from the 3-step zigzag. And see exactly where that happened. So we're just going to unpick that. Okay, so now we can turn things right side out. I am gonna wait until the very end to do any top stitching. I wanna see if maybe that will stay in just because of the elastic that's on there. I'm also gonna go ahead and pin my straps in just so that when I try it on, it'll be a little bit easier to try things on. Also gonna pin this because there's a chance, I'm just gonna do this. There is a chance that it's all fine and dandy. I'm just tucking it in. We will actually go inside the dress and sew it in properly at the end. But I do want to just kind of test the fit and see if maybe by some miraculous course of events it's correct.
Just kind of tuck that in for aesthetics for right now. And obviously I'm not hitting any of this with the iron yet either, so. Okay.
So there is my bodice with the cross back. So now we are going to go attach the outer bodice to the skirt, leaving the bra free because that needs to be able to hug my body. So I'm going to go grab the skirt and we're going to go attach that and then put clear elastic on that waist seam too. We're almost done. Okay, so I've sewn the bodice to the skirt, right sides together, and I've sewn some clear elastic onto the skirt side. So now, when the bra kind of comes over, there's the inside of the dress. So I'm actually going to try this on and see about the straps because I still need to figure out the straps. I will come back on here and show you how I sew the straps once I've determined the length, but I'm not going to show you, I am really, my camera's drunk. I am not going to show me in the dress because I'm going to show you, I'm going to have a sew the look video on Friday, so I want to create some suspense. I think this is going to be a good one. So I'm going to try this on real quick, adjust where I want the straps, and then I'll show you how I'm going to sew the straps in, and then all the dress needs is a hem, and I'm going to use my cover stitch machine. Alright, so I tried it on, and I need to shorten these straps a ton. So basically, the strap needs to be shortened, I mean like 6 inches. So I could have done 12, especially because I've got a lot of elasticity because of my elastic, and I do need just that little bit of extra support. Now I do have, it does give me kind of a flattened boob look, like a little bit of a uniboob, but I think I'm okay with that with this type of dress just because it does allow me to not wear a bra and have the cute crisscross back. You know, I could have done a sports bra top for this and maybe gotten a little bit more shape, but not much. Really, sports bras kind of get the uniboob as well. It's all about compression with that sort of bra, which is, you know, all of the support I really need. So that is how much I need to cut off. So instead of, all twisted here, cutting that off now, I'm going to unpin, because I don't want to accidentally cut off too much. That would be bad. All right, so here is my back strap and here is my front strap. And make sure that nothing is twisted, that everything is the way that it is supposed to be. And then I'm just going to pin this right sides together, but I'm only going to pin through the main, I'm like flipping this upside down to make it right sides together, but I'm only pinning through the main fabric, not through the sports bra fabric or the power mesh. So now I have that pinned, and it's going to be weird. Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to kind of come up over itself. That's okay. So now that that's been pinned, I'm going to go up in between my layers of the power mesh and the outer layer. Now this is a little tight and it's getting caught on other things. And then I'm just going to kind of pull all this through here. And we have that pen just to keep everything in the correct orientation. I think my pen's getting stuck on stuff. Sounds about right. So this just keeps, ouch, everything orientated correctly. So that nothing gets twisted. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this through until I have 6 inches past the seam line. That's about right there. And I want to make sure that my seams are on, not twisted. Make sure everything's nice and flat. And I'm just going to sew across at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to do this a few times just to make sure it's nice and secure. And I'm just using a 2.5 straight stitch on this. Okay, I'm still not going to cut this off yet because I want to wait. I also want to make sure that everything is not twisted. There's a lot of bulk down here in this. It's making it twist a little bit, but that's going to be cut off here in just a second. Okay, so everything looks good there. So I'm going to go back in and pull everything back, wrong side. Well, not yet, hold on. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Again, just making sure nothing's getting twisted. And this time when I go in and pull it through, I'm just going to make sure that they match. So I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to make sure that my sides match. I'm going to stab myself 87 times with this pen. Luckily, because all of this is stretchy, it is a wee bit more forgiving. So now, pull this one through. This is getting real twisty and turny because of the crisscross, the nature of the crisscross straps. So you just okay. So now here's the one that I sewed, and I did measure that one, but I just basically want to make sure, I'm gonna line those up like that. This one's a little long. Oops. I just want to make sure that they're hitting at the same place. Okay. That looks good. So now I'm going to make sure this is all nice and flat. I'm going to sew this down at 3/8 of an inch from the shoulder seam, not from the end of the strap. And now I'm going to cut these elastic straps off flush with the top there, both sides. And then when I pull everything right side out, boop, everything should be nice and flat. And of course, just with the nature of crisscross backs, they just don't hang very well. They need to be on a body. Kind of fall in on themselves, but there we go. And I think I'm gonna go without top stitching for a while and just see, because when I just had it on, because when my boobs are actually in the bra, you can see it right there, but when my boobs are actually in the bra, it pulls everything down. And so I think that it might be just fine. So there we have it. So now I just have to do a quick hem. And yeah, you guys can see this on Friday. So yes, you will see this video. I have to try and think about this. You'll see this video on Wednesday, and then you'll see this dress on Friday. Okay, I'm gonna go hem it real quick. Okay, so there you have it. The JCrew dress is finished. Again, I'm gonna hold you in suspense and let you guys wait and see that on Friday. But I hope that, let me know if you liked that. Kind of the behind the scenes of recreating, not really, so it's not a sew along, but just kind of my whole thought process and a behind the scenes of how I go about recreating a ready to wear look. Yeah, and okay, so let's have a little quick chat here. I have been noodling around the idea of possibly opening a Patreon account, but not like a lot of the others that are out there. I think that they're great, and I love the whole tiered system. But my thought process, I really, with this channel, really have always really wanted to build just a really good sewing community, and I feel like the channel has definitely done that. But the idea behind the Patreon possibility, I haven't decided fully yet. So let me know what you guys think. Would be, I would just have one tier and keep it, I don't know, like $2 a month. But it would basically give you access to more stuff like this. So I would do more behind the scenes sewing, not really sew alongs. Like the channel would stay the same. I would still be doing my sew along Sundays. You know, there'd still be vlogs, although if the Patreon had this kind of stuff, the vlogs just wouldn't have this kind of sewing. But then the Patreon would also be just a little bit more, if you are interested in having a little bit more of a tighter knit community. I could do polls and stuff. You guys, those people could pick the sew alongs, the tutorials, the different techniques that we do for the tutorials. And then also on the Patreon, I could do just little quick and dirty tutorials as well. You know, if someone has a quick question on how I do, Adina, for instance, had sent me a question on how I sew my sleeves in the round. So something like that where I could just film just a really quick video and pop that up on Patreon. But just have, again, one tier at like $2 a month. Let me know, is that something that would be interesting to you guys? I've been very hesitant about Patreon for a couple reasons, but one is just overcommitting myself. I really love the amount of attention that I'm able to give to the actual YouTube channel, and I don't want that to change because I want the YouTube channel to stay the same and kind of just going the course. I really, really am loving how that whole, that's all working. So I don't want to mess up anything or mess with anything. But I think I could probably easily take on something like that, you know? So let me know without it getting too complicated. I just don't want things to get too complicated and too time consuming. Because even though my kids are, knock on wood, going back to school August 11th, there's still a chance, you know, then I'll be shuttling them around to various and sundry activities, possibly. Who knows? In theory. So anyway, you know, I don't want to completely overload my plate. So yeah, let me know what you think. If that's something that would be an interest to anybody, or maybe it's not, and then it's a moot point and we'll just move on and forget that this ever happened. But yeah, let me know what you all think on that. But yeah, I like kind of doing this, my whole thought process, going like how I pick a pattern, how I hack a pattern, and then just kind of so not really a sew along, because this wasn't really a sew along, because I, you know, skipped a lot of steps. Like, it wasn't as in depth. I could definitely, I didn't even have my lights on obviously for this one, but I could definitely, I mean, turning the lights on is not that big of a deal. So I could make things better lit, but they wouldn't be as in depth as the sew alongs that are on the channel, if that makes sense. It wouldn't be me sewing like every bits and pieces. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. I think I'm going to stop for today though, and I'm really pleased I got my dress done. And then I am going to serge some of my new fabric that came in from Minerva for other Sew the Look outfits, and get that thrown into the washing machine. So gonna call it. It is Saturday evening, so yeah, I'm gonna hang out with my family now. All right, if I do any sewing tomorrow, I will check back in. Otherwise, I'll probably see you on Monday. We'll see. I may do some sewing tomorrow. I'll check back in. All right, have a good evening. Bye. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. So I've been off here for just a little while, but I have been sewing behind the scenes here. This is going to be short today. I mean, it's only 10:15 in the morning, but I'm doing a lot of filming today. I'm also having some cleavage issues with this Misty Cam. I think it's the way that the angle of the camera, it doesn't appear to be that much cleavage when I'm like standing there normally. I'm going to call this one early today, just because I feel like I've gotten a lot of footage on here with the making of the JCrew dress. That Sew the Look with it actually on my body will be up on Friday. So yeah, I will be filming that, and that will be up on Friday. But I did want to show you, so my kids are leaving for Missouri. They always go spend a week in Missouri with my parents every summer, and we are meeting halfway on Thursday to, well, tomorrow from when you're watching this, to drop them off for the week. And so I was just finishing up a couple more, turn these right side out so you can see them a little better, a couple more garments for my daughter, activewear stuff, just real easy breezy, and I was testing out a new pattern as well. So I just wanted to show you what I have been up to. So yesterday I did sew some activewear. Also today I'm working on a pattern test today, so I couldn't even show you what I'm working on today anyway after I'm done filming. But I bought, let's see, Closet Case, or Helen's Closet Case. And actually it's Closet Core Patterns now. But anyway, Helen's Closet had a sale on their website. They had a new pattern that got released. I think the Gilbert top, very cute top. But she was having a site-wide sale. And so I have always been interested in her Avery leggings, and I was getting a little tired of the Stride leggings just for making them so much, and so I decided to try this pattern. Also, it's a much simpler pattern, like there's not a lot of seams, which I thought would be fantastic because I do want to make some leggings for my daughter for the fall and winter because she does wear those to school. So I wanted to try that pattern, and then I was interested in it for myself as well, playing around with that, maybe some busier patterns that I don't want to break up with a lot of seams, just to make them a little more standard, you know, legging. And so I made up 2 of the Avery leggings for my daughter. I made up this space dyed knit. I've had this in my stash forever. Bought it from Blackbird's forever ago. And then this one, it's like, you can see the black in there, in this bright purple. So I made her 2 pairs of these leggings. And then with the rest of the fabric, and I still have a little bit left over. She said she doesn't want any more sports bras though. So I made matching, and they need to be, I have not cover stitched anything yet, but the summer basic tank from Love Notions Patterns, I made her matching tanks in both fabrics. So, you know, she can wear those on her own with other leggings, or wear them all for one monochromatic look. Anyway, I was working on this last night and just had to stop because I needed to go make dinner, so I didn't get a chance to switch my cover stitch thread. I need to change it to black. So anyway, I did get these 4 things made up yesterday. Just didn't get a chance to show you guys because I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff too. God, sorry about that. I don't normally have issues with this. So what else today? I've got the pattern tests I'm going to be working on. Again, my kids are leaving on Thursday, so I'm going to have an entire week of being able to really finish up all of my activewear. And I've kind of gone back through and decided which ones I'm going to which fabrics I'm just gonna put in the stash until another time, and which fabrics I still do want to make things with. And I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fabrics that are still out there. And as you know, I mean, one of them is the jacket, the Lee jacket, so that will take up that'll take up all that yardage. But the other things, I can usually get a couple things out of the yardage. I think I've got a couple of them I only have 1 yard of, so that will be a little bit more limited. And then I think I've got the real psychedelic one that I do have 1.5 meters of that. So I'll definitely be able to get a couple things out of that. And then I have 2 more of the merino poly mix that I'm going to be able to get some tops out of as well. Yeah, and I have another top I'm going to throw, like an over top that I want to throw into the mix. It's a re-release, Love Notions pattern that'll be re-released on the 24th. So yeah, I think I want to make another one of that with one of those. But anyway, I can usually get a couple of tops out of 1.5 meters of that too. So I do have quite a bit of sewing I'm going to do, but it's going to be pretty much all athletic wear while my kids are gone, just because I really want to get all of that finished so that I can get the modules and stuff filmed for you all. And I'll talk more about the Avery leggings pattern in my bottoms. I'm going to do it by type. So I'm going to do a video on my athletic wear bottoms. I'm going to do a video on my athletic wear tops, one on the jackets, and I'll probably throw the sports bra talk into the tops. That'll be a little bit longer video because I have more patterns that I used for those, as opposed to, you know, my bottoms. So far I've just used 2 patterns, so that's easy. But I'll be showing you all that, and then I'll show you everything kind of together, mixed and matched. So that is my plan. But again, I'm going to call it for today just because I've got editing I need to do, and I really need to work on another pattern test that will probably be out next week, I guess. Probably sometime next week, I would think, if everything still goes smoothly. So definitely watch out for that one. It's a really good one. It's a fun one. So yeah, that is what I'm up to today. Okay. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday, and I hope you've enjoyed this week of the vlog and enjoyed following me along on the whole making of the Sew the Look dress kind of process that I took you along on. And yeah, I will see you guys on Friday, and then for another weekly vlog next Wednesday. Bye-bye.